These are my top underrated things about living in Austin, Texas. My name is Connor Olson. I am a local realtor in Austin, Texas. This is the Living in North Austin YouTube channel. If you are looking to relocate to Austin, feel free to reach out. My contact info is right there. I'd love to help you buy a home or rent a home. I love that Austin is a young city, and I might be biased, it's because I'm in my 20s, but I really like that it's always been a very young city. It's been on the smaller end of major cities in Texas throughout its history. They have the University of Texas, which has a very large student population. Right now it's about 65,000, and even going back to before the big population boom in Austin, it still had a very large population. So I think that also contributed to it being a younger city. And then more recently, we've had a tech boom and a lot of jobs relocating to the Austin area. So that's typically younger professionals, people under 40, I would say, and I think that has really cultivated a younger population. And the reason I like that is because a lot of the population of Austin are transplants. They have moved here recently. I've been here 5 years, and I feel like I'm one of the oldest ones that I know that live here. When people relocate to Austin, it's kind of a transitory city. They'll come here, work for a couple years, and then they'll move out. So people are always constantly looking for new communities, looking for new friends, open to new ideas. So there's tons of groups. There's lots of various meetups throughout the whole city. So people are constantly looking for new events, trying to make new friends, and really outgoing. And I haven't found that in other places that I've lived. When I visited Dallas, Houston, and San Antonio, I didn't get the same feeling. So I think that's a definite perk and very underrated about living in Austin. Austin has some great big events. We have South by Southwest, ACL, and Formula One. So we have a lot of people coming in for these awesome events. People travel internationally sometimes to come to these events. So we really have some cool stuff to constantly be looking forward to. And aside from those big three, we also have numerous local events throughout the year that are also a ton of fun to go to. For example, we just had Halloween, and downtown Austin, next to the Capitol, they have a Dia de los Muertos parade, and it's amazing. They have really cool floats. They have, everyone is face painted, and it's just a really cool way to experience that culture that I personally haven't been exposed to for much of my life. So there's always something going on downtown and some really cool events to check out as well. Austin has a relatively new downtown. There were building restrictions put in place since the 1980s that really limited the type of buildings and the size of buildings that were allowed to be put in the Austin area. So there are many years of the government trying to limit the types of buildings that were coming in. And then in the mid-2000s, around 2007, there was a pent-up demand, and the city council then approved more buildings to be put in downtown. So really, downtown, the majority of the buildings have been built in the last 15 years. So when you look at Austin compared to Dallas, San Antonio, or Houston, Austin just feels newer. Like the buildings have more glass, they have more unique shapes. There's less brown concrete. I feel like there's a lot of brown concrete in Dallas specifically. So the downtown is newer. There's tons of stuff constantly going up. The last time I was stuck in traffic on I-35. I counted 8 cranes on skyscrapers, building skyscrapers right now. The most I've ever counted was 23. That was back in 2021. So we don't have 23 right now, but we definitely still have new development. New buildings are coming. So I like seeing the changing skyline. I like seeing the growth in the development and seeing, where these buildings are going, what they're offering, and I like seeing the transformation. We have really great winters. Winter is basically from December to March, and it is 50s, 60s, sometimes 70s. It does get rainy during that time, but You know, when most of the country is covered in snow, we're wearing t-shirt and shorts. So I really love the winters here, basically from November to May. You know, it might be warmer in November and warmer in May, but that is kind of the sweet spot. If you're ever looking to visit, sometime between November and May is the time to come. We do have really hot summers, so it is a balancing act of you get 6 months of good, 6 months of bad, but I feel like you get that anywhere. Up next is the Hill Country. So the Hill Country is just west of Austin and kind of southwest as well. The Hill Country is just these rolling hills throughout the landscape that were carved away by various rivers, streams, lakes over the years. So you get these really nice views that you don't find in most of Texas. When I moved here, I was driving from the West Coast out, and through West Texas, it was just like you see in the movies. It was nothing. It was just flat for 3 hours of driving. I thought I was going insane or driving in circles. But the Hill Country is completely different. You have these big oak trees that are, you know, they line the hills. You have rolling hills. You know, they're not mountains like I'm used to, but you get something. You know, it's a lot better than having a flat desert there. So the Hill Country, one, it's beautiful. Two, there's a lot of wineries out there. So Texas, you know, that's where they grow their own wine and grapes out there. So at these wineries, they have a lot of wedding venues. They have some really cool restaurants and some really cool small towns as well to go visit as well. So they're fun day activities. It's fun to go check out these places, wine tasting events, and also just check out these small, charming towns. So I think that's definitely underrated and one thing I really like doing. Number 6 is the bar scene. So Austin is renowned for having a lot of bars. The two main spots where bars are located is on 6th Street and on Rainy Street. Those are the two main bar scenes. One thing I think that makes it stand out from other cities is we have a ton of live music. So Austin is known as the live music capital of the world, which means that we have more stages of live music per capita than anywhere else. So it's really cool. You know, you go to these bars and almost all of them have live music, and it's just a different feeling with that. So whenever I tell people, you know, oh, I live in Austin, they say, oh yeah, I went to a bachelor party there, and you know, I love going to 6th Street. So it's something I hear all the time. It's a lot of fun. If you ever have the chance to go check it out, highly recommend it. Number 7 is live music. Outside of the bars, there is a ton of live music as well. You know, a lot of restaurants have these little stages. They're basically every weekend, if you go to local restaurants, you're gonna find live music somewhere. There's this one store in the Domain, which is our mall, our big outdoor mall that we have here, and the store sells cowboy boots, and they have live music every weekend, all day long. So they're really pushing the limits here of where and when you're gonna find live music. My final point is Greenbelts. A greenbelt is a piece of land that is next to a creek. So in Austin, we have quite a bit of water compared to some of the other cities in Texas. So we'll have a creek that maybe it runs through a development, a suburb or something. So they will make a park that runs along the greenbelt with a walking trail. And then every so often there's going to be a playground, and you know, it'll lead to maybe this local commercial development with local coffee shops or restaurants. So they're actively using these green belts, this you know, natural water feature. They're turning part of it into a park. They're, you know, expanding the trees around there. They're really just trying to get people outdoors. And I've seen this a lot in Austin, and I haven't traveled extensively in the other major cities to see it, but from when I take my friends around in Austin, they say that their city doesn't have a lot of green belts. And here they're very common. You know, every couple miles you're gonna pass another green belt, and you know, I have one that runs through my neighborhood. I love it. It's one of the reasons why we picked it. So it's just something that's kind of unique that makes you feel like you're closer to the outdoors than you might find in other places. That's it for my 8 most underrated things of living in Austin, Texas. If you have any questions about relocating to Austin, my contact info is right there. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.